Hello, my beautiful lovebirds, and welcome back to another episode of the My Inner Tiger podcast. Please forgive the sound of my voice. It's very deep and raspy. I'm recovering from some kind of respiratory thing, but it's making me sound a little on the more manly side. But that's what's going on in case you're wondering. I want to jump right into this very quick episode where I'm creating a part 2 to the previously released episode called Are We Meant to Be Fulfilled? And here's why I'm doing this. Little backstory. My husband and I were driving to dinner the other night and we were listening to the most recent podcast, Are We Meant to Be Fulfilled? And I wanted to listen to this together because I really created that based on a conversation he and I had previously about, what about the people, my husband included, who are in the rat race, just going through the motions, doing what they're supposed to do to feed their family, but not really loving their job, not really loving their life, not really, feeling like they're living very fulfilled, right? So he inspired this last episode. So I wanted him to listen to it and I wanted to talk about it. So as we're on the way there, and let me just say, if you haven't listened to the previous episode, I recommend you go back and do that first and then come back to this one. Don't have to, but I highly recommend it. All right. When we were listening to this podcast, he was so excited because he was relating to everything I was saying about being stuck in the matrix, right? He was like, yeah. So what I was leading up to in that episode was, what's the first thing you can do to really make a change and make a difference? And the thing that I said at the, toward the end of that episode that makes the biggest difference had for me, it has for so many people I know who have really transformed their life, is meditation. Okay. So when I said that, he kind of was like, oh God, meditation's the answer. You were building me up and I was looking for the answer as to what I could do. I was so excited. And then you say it's to meditate. And he's like, how is meditation going to help me? And I thought it was so brilliant because, of course, he's so raw and honest with me. And I was like, I get why most people hear that. And they're like, wah, wah, how's that going to help me? How is just sitting in silence really going to help me transform my life? So I want to dig into the very simple answer to that. And let me acknowledge that if you had that response, I totally get it. I have been there. I used to think the exact same thing, okay? And I'm not saying that all you ever have to do is meditate and your whole life will become forever different. I think it's the biggest thing that you can do first to start to make the transition. And the reason is, what most people don't know because they haven't been a meditator and don't have a meditation practice, they don't know the power of it, okay, which is sort of hard to explain. But the best way I can put it into words is that meditation gets you from your head to your heart. Now, if I look at all of the self-help practices out there, all of the books that have been written, all of the coaching, all of the things I know about really transforming your life, what it's all really doing is getting you from your head to your heart. It's getting you to connect like on a spiritual level, on a deep level, on an intimate level with the essence of who you are. A lot of us are walking around on this earth and we don't really know who we are. We may identify as, I'm a teacher, I'm a lawyer, I'm a stay-at-home mom, just a mom, the list goes on, fill in the blank, right? And that's how we identify ourselves. But who we really are is like a soul flavor. The thing that came to mind. It's like only you know what it is. Only you know the essence of what it's all about and who you be inside. You're like a flavor of ice cream and you're your absolute own flavor. There's no other flavor out there like you. You are 100% unique. Okay. So most of us are operating from this place in our head and deep in our subconscious as to what society has labeled us and told us that we are. But that's not who we really are. And people like my husband and like I used to be, when we're in this cycle, in this hamster wheel of Groundhog Day, right? And we're just doing what society told us to do. We go to school, we get the job, we get the family, we have the kids, but we're missing that spark, right? When we're in that cycle, we are operating from a deep level of subconscious, okay? We are not aware. We are not truly aware of what really, really, really lights us up. And the only way we can know who we are and what our purpose here, because we all have one, is to connect and go within, okay? I like to compare this to a toaster. So if you put a piece of bread into a toaster and you pull, old school bread slice toaster, you pull the little lever down, the only way that toast is gonna cook and give you toast is if you're plugged in. And the best way to hypothetically plug in is to meditate. Because as you do, you start it's a practice first and foremost. It doesn't happen at first. But the more you do it and the more you do it and the more you do it and the more you do it, you can just kind of go right into this knowing, okay? Glennon Doyle wrote a book called Untamed. Absolutely love this book. If you have not read it, get it on Audible. It's even better on Audible, I think, because she's such an incredible storyteller. But she talks a lot about the knowing, the going down deep into the darkness, the black hole of the knowing within. It's where we go through meditation and quietness, closing our eyes and going into the depths of our soul and meeting ourselves there. Because we all have a soul. This soul came in and incarnated into this physical body, into this 3D reality, okay? Our soul is like way higher D. I don't know if you call it 5D. I don't know if it's I don't really know the technical D dimension that our soul truly is. I'm not that technical, but our soul is a very high conscious being, and I personally believe we have lived many, 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 many different lives and learned so many different things along the way, and our soul has evolved along the way, and we're here to learn even more in this lifetime, okay? So our soul is not our body. Our soul is the essence of who we are, and we have to learn to connect with that. And that is the big game changer. Because when we start to lead our lives from our heart, everything becomes more enriched. Everything becomes more about truly living as opposed to just checking the box and just doing the things, right? Once we know who we are and what really lights us up, we do more of that. For example, doing this podcast, teaching, sharing my life experiences lights me up more than anything, more than absolutely anything. And it's part of just who I am. In fact, to take it even deeper, I've done this whole thing called soul realignment, I think. It's like a thing. Actually, I don't remember exactly what it's called, sorry. But a friend of mine is certified in it, and basically she goes into, connects and does muscle testing and all this stuff to figure out basically the essence of what your soul, like your highest gifts and like all these different things. And one of mine is teaching and sharing. And a lot of it is just sharing my experiences with other people. Who knew? My 20-year-old self, if I knew that when I was 20 and really knew how to tap into that, just think about how different my life would have been. Not that I'm dwelling on, regret by any means. Everything that got me to where I am today, I am incredibly grateful for, because now I'm finally living a life that truly lights me up. The other day I was having a conversation with my spiritual teacher / acupuncturist, and I literally, with the most sincerity in my heart, I said, I am so grateful for my kidney failure experience. Like, as hard as hell as that was on so many levels, it is, like, quite frankly, like, it just took what could have taken years or lifetimes to uncover within myself. It just burned it all away and brought me into really be able to see and connect with exactly who I am, right? And meditation was a huge, huge initial starter of that. And then it just started to build and build and build and build on itself. So the more we can get out of our head and into our heart is where the key to happiness lives. And that is where, really, at the end of the day, too, coaching does that. That's what coaching is all about. And when I'm like telling people about coaching, it's, I can say, well, really what we're doing is getting you out of your head and into your heart. But some people are like, well, that's not very appealing, But really, that's what we're doing. Because it is the most appealing, whether you realize it up front or not. It's the most appealing because we're getting out of our monkey brain and getting into our heart and really living in alignment with who we are. And a lot of that includes deprogramming most everything you've learned up to this point. Because a lot of what you've learned up to this point has just been building on layer upon layer upon layer on wall of a protection around yourself to keep you safe, because that's really what we're doing at all times. As we grow up, that's what we're doing. Something came in, it was threatening, we built a wall and a program into my mind saying, okay, from now on, when I see this threat, I react this way because this keeps me safe. And I mean, when we're on a spiritual journey, when we're on a growth path, it's all about rewiring our brain. It's all about rewiring our mind, rewiring our thoughts, rewiring the way we see things, because I want you to do a little exercise. I've said this before in other episodes, but I'm going to do it again because it's so powerful. Take your fists, put them in balls, so ball up your fists, and then take them and put them against your eyes and open up just a little teeny bit. I'm like doing this. A teeny weeny bit so that you can see like binoculars through your fists over your eyes, okay? So do this, like for real, unless you're driving. Do this. And just look around and see what you see. Now, I want you to take your fists away, and I want you to see how much more you see. That is exactly how our brains work. Our brains, over time, to keep us safe, have balled up into these little balls to where we can only operate out of exactly what we see directly in front of us because of all of the protection we've put around us. When we start to break down those walls and those barriers, we can see so clearly what was already here, what's available to us. Like the world just becomes like your oyster. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like I'm speaking from experience. I have transformed so much. And it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful process, and I want it for everyone. And so start meditating, for the love of God. Here's the other thing. If you don't know how to meditate, I did an episode on meditation, but I'll share a couple little things. Start with something like Insight Timer. Insight Timer, it's an app. Just download it. And they have free meditations all up and down it. You can pick stuff from there. That's really how I started. And then you start evolving into, like, I do a lot of YouTube meditations. I find some people on there that I really like to follow. But, everyone's flavor of meditation is going to be different. So I'm not even going to share what I like because it could be totally nothing you like. So just start exploring. There's no right or wrong way to do it. If you really have never started meditating before, I want you to probably if you're having trouble with Insight Timer, just doing it, whatever. I think they may have some courses to show you how to meditate on Insight Timer. Check that out. But you can download Headspace, because Headspace is another app, but you do have to pay for it eventually. And it sort of introduces you into the art of meditating. A lot of people love the Calm app. It's every day a new meditation, quick and easy. It's 10 minutes. You just get it done and you move on. Another good place to start. But again, I like to do YouTube. Sometimes I just look for 10-minute ones. I don't, everyone's different. I don't typically like the longer ones sometimes, but sometimes I do, Sometimes I do live meditations with people I follow. So find your flavor, just start doing it. My husband and I are actually getting ready to do a course together on transcendental meditation. I think they may offer this around the country. So if you just type in your city and transcendental meditation courses, I've heard phenomenal things about this. My husband does have a hard time meditating. He has a hard time just connecting and going in. His chatter in his head, which is so normal, just goes blah, 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 crazy. Mine used to. So we're just going to do this course together, and I think it'll really deepen my practice and be a great way for him to start off strong, right, with a new practice. So yeah, meditate. And then I'm telling you, hire a coach. I listened to, I don't know if anyone follows Catherine Zankina, the Manifestation Babe. Go follow her on Instagram if you're not. She's amazing. She did an incredible episode the other day about what was it called? I posted it on my stories, non-negotiable habits for success, I think. And she didn't talk a lot about, what time to wake up in the morning and what time to work out and all this stuff, the typical stuff. It was really she's a multimillionaire. So it was really good stuff, right? Deep stuff. And her very first thing that she talked a lot about was the importance of hiring a coach, because there's things roadblocks or places we get stuck in our lives, and we could spend, years ruminating over the same thing over and over and over that we could have knocked out in one session with the life coach, right? So the power of coaching is it's beyond transformational. It's really the best thing out there to ignite change and ignite growth, in my opinion. I can't think of anything better, because everything else is one size fits all. Hiring a personal coach for yourself is just awesome. Think about it. You can go to the gym. If you have no idea how to work out, you can go to the gym and just start, working out and looking at videos on YouTube and trying to train yourself every single day and, figure it all out yourself. But if you hire a trainer, a personal trainer, all you have to do is just show up, and then you get exactly what you need. And it's boom, boom, one and done. And it's just an incredible way to not waste time. And I loved what Catherine said in that episode about, time is money. Time is everything. We like to be oh, no rush on everything. But why wait? Why wait? If you've gotten into your 40s yet, you realize exactly how fast time flies by. So do everything you can to really make the change, and don't be afraid of it, Don't be afraid to step into something new. Really challenge yourself. So what are you going to do differently in 2023? Are you going to do the same thing you've been doing year upon year upon year? Maybe setting a little goal, maybe not spending any money, but setting a little goal, to change what your diet, or your exercise routines. I mean, that's great, don't get me wrong, but why don't you do something that's actually going to make forever change? It's actually going to really transform and rewire your mind and get you out of your mind and into your heart. So, in my opinion, there's no amount of money out there. Don't let your money blocks or your obsession with money or their obsession with the lack of money get in the way of your future. Because listen, your future you is calling you. It is out there ready to be tapped into. And you're just tapping your fingers, right? You're just waiting. I mean, what kind of other sign do you need? So really think about that. Getting out of your head and into your heart is the biggest game changer you will recognize when you start to really live the life of your dreams. And that's what I do as a life coach. So I hope that this episode spoke to you. Let me know if you have any questions, and I love you so much. I want the absolute best for you, and I will catch you on the next episode.